Well, thank you all for being here. The very first thing I put up on the screen is about releasing attachments through your intention. So whether it's forgiveness or whatever it is in your life, it could be a past life or anything like that, just us being in the same room together, in the same call, you're connecting with other people's energy. The other people may have had past lives with you, so we're just, in order for you to be able to be here, be comfortable, just take a moment and read the releasing attachments prayer. So I choose to allow love to replace any unresolved energy from other lifetimes or places of existence with other people or energy that is no longer in my highest good to hold. I ask God, Creator, Source, to bless my path in all directions of time and space so that I may be free of anything keeping me from being free. And so it is. So we'll just take a moment now. I'm going to have you close your eyes and take a deep breath so you can get the most out of this session. We're asking that any electronic devices or any other communication methods for this call are all protected and sealed so there's no interference. And many of you have submitted questions, so I have answers for all of them. And if something comes up during the session and you want to ask, go ahead and ask. If I don't get to it now, I will get to it after the call. We have 2 hours. The releasing attachment prayer, I know some of you use Ho'oponopono, that thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. This is just another form of that. It's also in my book, Messages from the Enochian Tablets, A Lightworker's Guide to Energetic Clearing. Most of you are familiar with me and know of that book. Still working on edits from the second book. Pat is working very hard so we can get that done next month. So that's exciting. I'm very keyed into Joe right now because Joe has left a couple questions, and that's what they want me to start with today. Okay, so one of the questions that Joe had was about discerning energy. How can you tell? How can you tell? Is it good energy? A couple other people had also asked about energy. How can you tell the difference? It's going to bring you up if it's divine. It's probably going to weigh you down if it is of lower vibration. So let's say a God is telling you that you need to worry about, I don't know, there's something in your health that you need to check out. When you get the message, it's not going to be full of fear. It's going to be, you know what, let's go ahead and make that doctor's appointment, and it will pick you up instead of leaving you in a fearful place. So that's one way to tell if the energy is coming from a higher source. And I'm actually not sure that Joe is the one who asked about that, but that's what I'm getting guided to talk about right now. Taking a few minutes and just really practicing what we already know and just reinforcing how we view energy. So when we think about negative energy, I'm going to include all things like emotions. You have people that are angry, you have people that, you know, don't think well of you, and they would like you to not succeed. So maybe they're harmful thoughts, you might feel those things. actual entities. A lot of you are light workers, and you also are clearing energy from people in spaces. A lot of you do house clearings. So people may believe that there are some type of energy in the house that needs to be healed or cleared, and you come in and do that. But when you're doing that, there needs to be a way to know if it's for you to do or not. Okay, the first energy we're going to connect to is Source, True Source, God, the Divine Goddess, whatever you call that energy. And you're just going to take a moment and close your eyes and breathe. And we're going to allow ourselves to be lifted to that highest energy, that highest source. And when I feel that everybody is connected, we'll continue. Okay, so if there's one of you right now that feels some type of really strong, like heart energy, you have to push up just a little bit higher than where you are. The place that you're at looks like source. It may appear to be, it's bright light. It feels, light there. But there's something off about that place, and we want to go up just a little bit further than that. So when you're traveling, like from the top of your head all the way up to God, there is something on the way there that looks like source. And it's actually a extraterrestrial type energy. When I have spoken with other people that connects with this energy, they say, you know what, I saw angels there. I don't know why it's not the right place. And I said, well, how do you usually see the angels? And they said, just white, beautiful wings. And I said, was there something different about this other place? And they said, yes, they were wearing glasses. The angels were wearing glasses. And I said, well, then you kind of knew there was something different than usual. It's very subtle like that. But this energy is not harmful, but it would like you to connect there to help with whatever their plan is. So we're going to go up a little bit higher, whoever the person was. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust the energy and just pull whatever's blocking you from connecting for now. You can always put it back if you don't agree. Okay, now you're up at True Source. Everyone in this call, and even when the people are listening to the recording, at this point we are all connected to True Source, God, Goddess, the universal energy. However you look at that, it's the same place. So feeling this energy, this is the way you know if you're connected up at Source. So when you're doing healings, this energy should be around you, your house, your children, anybody who might be affected when you are doing energy work for other people. So include your pets. They're very sensitive to energy. So we're going to go ahead and practice that now. We're going to allow this white light, this God connection, source energy to just infuse our bodies, our living space, car, your work, your surroundings, where you're going to go tomorrow. We're going to pre-clear with this energy. And I can feel that some of you are actually connecting with spirit at this high level. So perhaps you're speaking with Jesus, with an archangel, and allow yourself this connection. I can see several of you connecting with Archangel Michael. And you're just going to allow this energy to be that starting point, that place where you know, okay, if it's this energy, then I know that everything is clear and positive. There are no attachments because I am in this place and it feels light. And the more time you spend in this place, the more that you're going to bring it into your everyday world, healing others, yourself, your surroundings. I'm just getting guided to allow you just to have this energy for a little bit, because then you won't forget that this is the energy that you are really wanting to work with for healing, for clearing. So discernment of energy, the simple explanation is if it does not lift you up and it pushes you down, it is not source. So if I hear that same message from a lower vibration, I'm going to feel fearful, drained, uncertain, or depressed at times. So those vibrations feel lower than this, which we're going to connect with now. If you had some kind of an outside source with a lower vibration that was speaking to you or connecting with you, or there was an attachment, we're going to go to what that energy feels like right now. We won't stay there very long. But discernment, being able to tell the difference between these energies, will help you so much. So don't be afraid of this lower vibration dark energy. You know, the negative emotions, don't be afraid of it, because I need you to be able to identify it. Can you tell the difference when the voice says for you to do something? If it's of this vibration, you're going to know this is not source, or they're not really your guide. And I did have somebody ask about positive energy. Like, would you ever need to clear any positive energy? And I just say it can stay. Love, divine light, and your highest guidance that's aligned with your path, that should all stay. Okay, so let's say after a session you've worked with a client, you've done your Reiki or any other healing modality. You feel something is still stuck in your field. You want to know, what do you do about it? Go through the process like we just did, because right now you're still feeling the lower vibrations, so this will be good practice. We're going to go from the top of our head all the way up to God's source. Universal energy, the highest point of the universe, the highest guidance you could possibly ever achieve. Okay, we're all there. And you need to just allow it to run down your hips, your legs. That's usually the place where you're going to find these attachments. Would be, if it's a spirit, most likely it's going to be on the left side of the body on your hip. If it's a living person, you may feel it more on the right side. There are some exceptions if people have twins, but for the most part, a spirit attachment will be on the left side of the body when you're doing energy work on someone. So that white light you've connected to, you're just letting it pour over you. Any cords from the session, that means if you connected with that person to heal them, there's some type of cord there. Just making sure that everything has been cleared, that you're no longer taking their emotions and healing home with you. One thing that happens sometimes in the middle of your sessions, if you are doing energy work on someone and there's part of your field that you are still working on, like let's say it's an extreme fear, work over them, they have the very same fear as you, they perhaps can mirror it back to you, or you may even take it upon yourself. And what that would feel like is what I described as a great big ball of energy. And it feels like getting smacked by the energy. It doesn't feel pleasant. So if I'm in their field, and this has happened to me, I've done thousands of healing sessions, and in the beginning, this would happen. That's how I would learn about it, and how now I can talk about how to avoid it. But you may still have to find your own way. So it connects with me. It's like now I've taken on their pile of stuff. And then what I really have to do is just go in, work on my own thing so I can disconnect it. So if I have that very same fear as they have, or whatever you think, some people may think it's a cheating spouse. When you're working on someone and that's their fear, you have the same fear, and all of a sudden you're taking on this energy of somebody else. And you're just going to have to work on your own fear, ground yourself, and then allow yourself to move forward. And that technically would be like an attachment, but it's more you taking on somebody's emotions. Okay, and then Kay had some questions. Um, this person wanted to know more about leading energies. Are they just from ETs, and do they always come through other people, like our spouses, loved ones, or can they come straight to us? You said I was impervious to attachments, but leading energies could potentially affect me still, right? Well, leading energies can be anything. For example, when I'm trying to read for a police case, let's say I'm trying to find a missing person, it's high profile, the public has already come up with a very strong opinion on maybe what had happened. Those shows, the news shows that really talk about those cases and go deep into them, there's a lot of leading energy just with the media. So that's one example of leading energy. Leading energies could be the belief systems that we had when we grew up. It could be any kind of fear-based thoughts. Let's say all of your friends believe that a certain person is legitimate, and most of the country believes a person is legitimate. There's a very strong energy connected to that. So for you to feel differently about that would be very hard to do if you got pulled by these leading energies. So it just pulls you away from your path. Nothing extreme, usually it's just affecting your ability to manifest for your path and in your highest good. So the other things that leading energy can include are entities, thought forms, mass consciousness, fear, chaos, believing information that you were given from another that limits and keeps your energy in a place of fear-based thoughts and actions. And leading energy can affect anyone, but it's not an attachment. And we've talked a little bit about the ETs. So when you're going up and connecting to source, that energy that you pass through first could possibly pull you back. And I think that was the leading energy we had talked about the day that we spoke to one another. Being impervious to attachments is very rare. I know just in the time that I've been doing things, probably 10 to 20 people, their energy field cannot be attached to. So, but for most people, you do have to keep it clear and keep rechecking your own issues and dramas and things like that that open your field to lower vibration energy. And I can hear my guides right now. They say you have to go real close to the screen because you're not wearing your glasses. She never wears her glasses. So, but that's okay because I can make the screen really big. Okay, so Karen, Dr. Ken, the entity-related imbalances that I'm finding during healing sessions of myself and others are now coming from future time, whereas a lot of past life stuff has been healing previously. Is this a trend, or is it because so much of the past life issues have been healed? So you will heal a client's most significant barrier or block if it's a past life or a future life or any other direction of time. They're cleared in the order of importance. So maybe when you had been working on people, you believed that they were you were clearing a past life because that was the only thing that really you had learned up to that point, or that's what you grouped that energy to be. You may actually have been clearing the future lifetimes and just didn't know it until now. So as you keep going up, Karen, and everybody else, you're going to see layers and layers of different energy that you really didn't recognize before, but maybe you were always clearing it. You just had no idea, because we look at things now, and our human mind believes that there's the present, and there's the past, and there's the future, and we only know the past and the present. So that's all we can clear. But as you keep growing, you realize that time, anything in the future is affecting us now. So if there's something that, let's say, 3 lifetimes from now, you make a really bad decision, you completely go off path, you're going to feel that now. So those are some of those things that you may clear and never realize that you're clearing things in the future. So this growing is endless. And the reason that you're seeing the future is because you can now. Can't wait to see what you're going to see next. Okay, let's get Karen's next question. Is it true that each level of ascension there are equal level of resistant entities that we need to clear? It does feel that way. I would have to agree. It feels like there's more resistance and energy, but to get up to that higher level, you just really got to work for it. You have to really want it and not quit just because the resistance is so very strong at each level, and it does become more difficult. So the entities are not the hard part of ascension. It's our own resistance to growth and change. So don't give the entities the power, you have it. I hope that helped, Karen. And the way to keep the entities from interfering with the computer and communication devices. The way that I did in the beginning, when we started out and we blocked all energy that could block our session tonight, you could do it that way. And if it's still getting through after that, you may have to study what the situation is. So if Source wants you to learn about how entities are interfering with electronics, and that's part of your path, then you may have to endure a little bit more of that until you learn more. Okay, so question 3. With each level of ascension, Karen wants to know, how do I know that I'm not creating the entities due to the resistance I feel? Do you believe that you're manifesting an entity? I have to ask that. Okay, so some healer pointed out that since I'm so focused on clearing them, maybe I'm manifesting them. That's usually I don't know if, I guess I'm going to say it. If somebody says that to you, it might be a way to get you to back away from it. So I guess make sure that them saying that isn't a method to just get you to back off on what you're doing. If it feels right for you to continue clearing people every day like you do, and it feels aligned with Source, then, you just keep doing it. And sometimes it just really does feel like there's entities everywhere, but then you start realizing you have to adjust your energy field each time you go up to a new level. There has to be a complete adjustment process on what you're allowing through and what energy you're still giving to other people. Okay, so hey, Karen, thank you. I actually want to move on to reasons why clearings don't always work. Because there's sometimes when you will clear a house for a client, and guess what? They say it's still here. You know, I felt better for a little while, and then all of a sudden, you know, this stuff is back. It's back again. You know, what should I do? If you've already done the clearing, you have already done everything that you were guided to do. Then the only reason that it's going to come back is the free will of the person with the negative spirits. There's something they are connecting or blocking that either brings it back or you don't have enough information in order to clear it in the first place. So it's not just a matter of using sage or other clearing methods to walk through the house in your intention. You could have the best intention, pray, walk around and help, but if they have a tie to whatever the negative energy is, then it's probably going to come back, or you may not have completely cleared it. But they will get a clearing. I've just put together a list of situations where maybe an entity or energy that you have cleared comes back. Hidden secrets. So if the person has a secret, entities like to hide behind that because they're not willing to tell anyone and they feel bad or guilt or whatever it is about it. So it's a really good hiding spot for people. You might as well take the time now to empty any secrets. Obviously, do not post them on the chat. I just need you to think of them and release them up to Source or God. So we'll take a minute with hidden secrets. So anything that you would not tell anybody and you keep it buried, I'm asking you to, in your mind, think of what they are and hand them up to the universe, to Source, and no longer hold them. So we'll just breathe and take a couple minutes and do that. And some of you have no secrets, and that's great. But the rest of you, take some time. Let's do it now. And there's a couple of you that can't see the secrets. I'm asking permission from Source and your higher selves to bring them up where you could see them, and they're saying yes. So I'm just going to allow you to gently remember whatever it is so you can release it without fear or drama, just seeing it for what it is and letting it go. You know, some examples of secrets would be, I mean, from something, you know, people may have, let's say they stole something when they were a kid and they feel extremely terrible about it. And they're still holding on to the guilt of whatever they took, the candy bar or whatever it is. And they'll take that with them to their grave and feel terrible about what they did. I'm just asking you to take that, release it from you, and just give it up to God. It's that simple with your intent. And if it's something that bad that you may need to do more work on, then you would work on forgiveness for yourself. But you can give up the secret today and then work on the forgiveness later. Okay, so they said that's enough time in that area. So anything you do that's against who you are as a soul, those are those openings for attachment. So if I act like I'm a really nice person, I'm here, but I go home and beat my kids, that's doing something against who I am as a soul, and I'm harming other people. So if that's the behavior that I have, then I am open to attachments. So that's just one example, but anything that you know isn't who you are. We'll move on to the next one, inviting these spirits in, either now or in the past. I have had many clients that experimented with the Ouija board, or, they tried different types of spirit communication, or even had books, different books, different belief systems, negative belief systems and harming, and maybe calling in an entity of some kind to help them to get back at someone, to create drama for someone else. So people actually do invite these things in. So whenever you see an entity when you're working on someone and you've cleared it from them and they keep coming back with it, if you're guided to by your higher guidance, you may want to ask if on any level they ever used any kind of negative entity, or asked a negative entity to do something to someone else that's not of a good nature. And if I'm going too fast, you guys have to tell me. So tell me to slow down, ask a question about what I'm talking about. We have plenty of time. Okay, so we will move on. Entities misrepresenting themselves as guides, angels, or loved ones. Just a couple of examples I have that are popping up right now. Somebody actually had someone save their life. And, an energy saved their life, told them don't go out there. And if they had gone out there, they may have been abducted or harmed or something from a very bad person. So the rest of their life, they believed that this was their guardian angel. It was probably one of the first times I realized that sometimes the negative energies do what we would say are positive things, even though they have their own reason to get you to trust them that perhaps that had happened. It's very rare. It's usually just somebody believes that their guardian angel is, a loved one or something like that, where it may not be their higher guidance. I'm hearing examples that might help people as I'm talking. That's the information's coming in. So if you have a loved one that maybe passed suddenly, like they had something to do with their passing, like a suicide, when they go over to the other side, they're still in that same vibration, and they do work. They don't, always go on to the light or however you look at that place right away. So they may hang around. And if you believe that that person is your guardian angel, you may want to keep them around, but their vibration is sort of low. And for your higher guidance, you want to keep the highest energy that's going to keep you on path and protected and not drain your energy. Those energies would feel draining. So as far as spirits that need help to the light, I am getting guided. I wonder if it's because Pat is still sitting here behind me to do, I should show Pat, but she'll be so mad. So just taking a minute, so everyone that's here, I'm going to hold a positive space for any energy that needs to cross over to the next level. If you call it heaven, the light, or wherever that is, that higher place that they check into. So we'll just take a couple minutes, and we're going to envision the stairway, or however you see it in your mind, that leads them up to heaven. Clouds and all that kind of stuff, and just maybe allowing any of these spirits that might be around you in your homes to just go on into that light. Remembering a time when they were happy, at peace, when they felt love, maybe when they had a special snack they really liked, if that's what makes them happy, that may help them see the light. So these are all very cooperative spirits that are ready to go, and maybe they just couldn't see the light, and they look to you to help them find it. So now we're just allowing them to go. And these aren't really negative energies, but they might feel a little draining to you, or you may mistake their emotions as your own if they're around for too long. And they can attach to your field, but the ones that we're crossing over right now are really just sweet ones that just lost their way. And if it isn't in your belief system, you totally don't have to do it, but just being open to another way of clearing. Okay, so we're going to go on to the spirits that would be here. Maybe they are stuck, they're still angry, but they still had a human life. You know, so I don't know, maybe some of them were murdered, some of them had a drug overdose or something like that. And they're just not ready to go on, they're upset. So you can kind of sense the energy, what that feels like. It's different than those ones that just kind of lost their way. They feel a little more irritable, cranky. I don't know. They just, when they're around, you're going to feel it. You're going to just be really cranky at your spouse. I get like that. Sometimes I don't mean to, but luckily he loves me a lot and he's going to put up with all that. Okay, and with those energies, they may not be ready to go to the light. You may have to go up to source and say, you know, or pray, or however you do that connection with higher than you, if it's dowsing or however you do it. And just asking. So I'm asking right now with the energies that I'm feeling, can any of them be crossed over into the light? And I'm hearing yes. That there will still be a few that remain, but we will put a barrier so they're no longer going to come in your house without permission. And that's one of those things, having a really, really good way of stating this is mine, you know, your strong boundary. No spirits are allowed inside my house, my place of business, my car, unless God himself says that this is in my path and necessary. If you just have that intention, probably most of what you feel is going to dissipate. Okay, so I've got a question. It kind of goes along with what we're doing now. So does being in a house with someone playing violent video games put them or others in the home at risk for entities? So how can other family members protect themselves if they are not the ones? Okay. As far as video games, I have a husband and a son that play those games all the time. If they're just kind, wonderful people, and you don't have that general, you know, not allowing entities into your space, that'll be good enough to keep those out. So, and I would also include any of those paranormal television shows that people watch, because there are some really dark energies there, but you can still watch it as long as it's not causing you fear and you have a really strong barrier there so that they don't come in. That barrier is, you know, there's no reason for you to connect with that energy. So there, you just keep it out. So they can play the video games as long as it's not changing how they are and they're now harming people because of it. There's no reason you should get an attachment. We had a Reiki share today, and a little bit of a joke that I brought up was that I can, you know, sometimes you need a person to get in their power in order to clear an entity. So perhaps they've never been in their power before. So being in your power, what does that feel like? It feels like if you've ever had to protect yourself. I had many years in law enforcement, so I'm comfortable being in my power. Doesn't mean that I have to be in it all the time, but energetic, being in your energetic power will keep you from taking on some entities also. So in order to help certain people who've never been in their power, sometimes that they may swear a little bit to get themselves in their power, and I did say some little swear word today to help somebody get in their power, and it stays white light in my aura the entire time because I'm not doing it to be fearful or mean. It's in a method to get them in their power so they can release things. And people that haven't been in their power before, they've never had a fight, they've never had the adrenaline rush of having to protect themselves, you could ask them, if someone you loved were outside your car at a mall, winter time, and you're loading in presents and things, and some type of, a man who wants to either take your car or it's a woman who wants to steal your purse, whatever it is, they come to you and you worry that something's going to happen to your family member. Let's say it's your child or someone like that, you're going to get in your power. So sometimes I may just get somebody to get in their power by giving a hypothetical of what would you do if somebody tried to take your child? And you can kind of feel what that does. It puts you in your power. And when you're in your power, you're going to help whatever healer is helping you to release energy to release it. So it's a really good technique of being in your power. And so swearing is okay in certain situations. So Amanda has a question. How do you stop gifted children from bringing attachment entities into the house or opening portals or vortexes inside the home? One of the questions I had on here, but let's see if I can bring it up for you. I know Lisa also asked a question about kids in the home and opening portals, so let me find that. Okay, so it was this one. Why do portals or doors open and how can you keep them shut in your home or space? My answer to her was your children have abilities that are still being adjusted from many lifetimes of experiences. You will have to adjust the energy and close these as they occur. You were hand selected as their guardian because you can handle this and will grow along with your children. So spiritual power opens portals whether it's being used properly or improperly. So hopefully, Amanda, that's because it's the same thing that you're doing. Your children are spiritually gifted too. So they have energy with them that they don't really know how to work with. And you're going to learn along with them. It's not a punishment, but it's just how your path has been set up. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this question above it. Because there's another type of energy, and it's just almost a recording of something that happened. So if you have a great big fight with your spouse or your friends or your kids or whoever it is, there's an energy recording of that in your home. And the way that you can tell that it isn't a spirit is you won't be able to react, like you won't be able to interact with it. So if you have you hear somebody yelling and swearing and all this stuff that's going on, they're not going to be able to connect with you. It's really just an energy recording and you're that sensitive where you can feel it. So if you work at a place like a jail or anything like that, there's probably all kinds of interesting energy recordings there, and it's not necessarily always a spirit. So okay, Roxanne, you have a question also for young children who are not aware of their gifts just yet, and dark energy is taking advantage of them. How can you guide them through that? And then I'm going to go ahead and read Karen's too. So if people have protected their home, how do they prevent a spirit attached to someone from coming in? Don't have to clear them first, or will they automatically be possessed when they walk through the threshold? I've noticed that my office shield doesn't work, but maybe it's because my patient needs to know who was attached. Okay, so I'm going to go to the children first. And in certain situations, you may need somebody who can connect up. And that's one of those things that I can do and ask about your specific situation. So if dark energy is connecting with a child and you can't clear it with the normal methods, it could be something more like a past life, or, it might be neighbors or someone who died in the area that's connecting with them. So each one of those would be a unique situation that I will always go up to source. There is no standard answer how to handle those, Roxanne. So it's case by case, and you just really allow your higher guidance to help you. And if you need help, then call someone like me and get a little advice that way. And then for Karen's question about the clients coming in, I'll just tell you what I do, but you can do whatever is best for you in your practice. I have it set up where anybody who walks into my space, they may have something with them that I'm not supposed to connect with because they're not ready to clear it. If they're not ready to clear it, then I shouldn't be wasting my time being drained by it. So it may just be put off to the side, and then when they leave, they may reconnect with it. But I don't allow it in the space. Even in the building that I'm in, there are spirits connected to the property. The higher guidance has told me not to clear them or move them on, that they're fine. I just don't allow them in my actual working office. You keep putting up really interesting questions, but I don't want to, let's see, let's go back to Karen's again. Karen, do I have permission to check your shield to see what's allowing it through? If not, that's okay. Okay. It just feels like a personal need to clear it all at once. You know what I mean? Like, okay, there's energy there. Let's just clear it all. Like, you just want to help people so much that some things just aren't ready to be cleared yet. So I think it's a matter of just allow in what you're supposed to connect with and help them with, and let the rest wait for them. The divine has a plan, and the plan is to help, but it's got to be done in the best way for the person you're working on. So if I clear too many energies from a person and they haven't done the work to get in a place where mentally and physically and spiritually they can handle being in that place, it would be too much. So I trust the divine to tell me when I should and shouldn't clear energy from someone. Just because I'm ready doesn't mean they're ready. But other than that, your shield is awesome. So if the UPS guy brings the stuff like you're saying, it just focus on what source wants you to handle, and know that there's a plan for those other people. So just because you know that all those people have entities and you know that you can clear entities, still stay focused on what you're supposed to use your own energy for, so you have enough to help the people you're helping. Yeah, don't clear the UPS guy unless source tells you to do it. Okay, Jen has a question. My son's teacher was murdered 3 years ago. That's terrible. So he's now 11, and he refuses to sleep in his bed ever since the incident. I've tried to clear multiple times, but it seems like there's something else going on, and looking for guidance. Do I have permission to read the energy at your home, Jen? Give me a minute. Um, just for the other people that have children with gifts, Jen, what kind of things is your son seeing? Is he seeing spirit? So he's seeing spirit and doesn't know how to tell me what is going on. Okay, and can you just say what the actual fear is, why he doesn't want to go to sleep? Some of this is free will, and your son has free will. So I'm trying to work with what we're allowed to see, and I'm not allowed to look through his eyes. And I feel like he's done counseling already for this. Is that true? Okay. So is the no to no counseling? Okay. Yeah, definitely. If you can get him to talk to some kind of grief counselor, I would do that. But some of it isn't a spiritual thing. It's beyond that. I am going to connect with the teacher. They're going to allow me to do that. And I'll check and see how he is doing, he or she. So I'm hearing that the teacher has not crossed to the light. I asked Source, is it time for the teacher to cross to the light? And I hear no. So we're not going to be forcing that to happen or anything like that. We are going to send some positive, just some positive energy that he find healing. And any connection to him in your home is not allowed. So we will ask him not to be present with your son. And you've done a really good job of praying and putting protection around his room. Extend it out into your own space and beyond. Make sure it covers school. So just sending a little bit of positive to the teacher already feels like it just lifts them up a little bit. And not every person goes on to the light like we think. That's one of those things I know I had flipped back and was talking about that. Generally, you think, okay, a spirit dies, they need to go to the light. And it's just not always that way. It's case by case. Just going over some basic stuff with you that you probably already have heard about, but using sage to clear your space. When I asked my guides, what exactly does sage do? They said it's more about the intent. Maybe it's about the belief system, if it's Native American or whatever your belief is. Um, it calms the soul to see the truth. That's what they told me. Um, so it's just calming to give you a place to maybe center and hear what you need to hear. So with sage, you just walk around and yes, Kieran, you can use sage essential oil spray. The burning of it is just the traditional way, but I also understand so many people have allergies that you can't always do it, especially in a professional office like you are in. That Palo Santo, it's like a wood and you just burn it and just like you would sage and walk around with it. That one actually frees your spirit from negative vibrations. So whether somebody directed something at you and it's still lingering, that works. So many different ways to clear energy. There's one that I did come up with. Yes, the sprays are awesome. And then sometimes you guys even put a little extra energy into the spray. You put prayers, and you energize with your Reiki and other methods, which make those sprays even stronger. But this combination of amber and rhodozite crystals together, let's say you have an awareness of fallen angels, that you have that kind of detail in what you've been learning. Putting these two together seems to be like a repellent, so like a bad angel repellent. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Okay, I've got to go back to the one question I missed here. I'm trying to keep up with all your questions. It's a good thing we still have another hour. Okay, do parents who do not believe in spiritual-based beliefs bring in fear-based entities into the home due to religion, believing in the devil, etc.? I would say that that's mostly a no. So just because you don't believe in God, like let's say a person doesn't believe in God, but they still have that connection up higher. They don't have to have proof that there's God, but they're still connected to it. And, in that case, they're still protected in that same level. Just believing that there's something higher than yourself. Not everybody's Christian and Catholic, and everybody has different belief systems. But some people want proof, or they've had a bad experience in church, or whatever it is. But they still have that connection. That connection protects them. And I know a couple of you have asked questions about law of attraction, like if you're clearing the energy, you're bringing it to you. I think there are exceptions to the law of attraction. If you are doing it and you're manifesting for positive things, that's great. But some of you have spiritual destiny that has you help make this place a better place. So you're making the world better, you're raising the vibration of the planet, and part of that is actually being able to stomach being around the lower entities and helping to heal and raise those. So we're not creating a problem for ourselves if we are staying aligned with Source. The key would be staying aligned in what you're supposed to do. So if I see entities that are connected to someone and I hear from Source that is not for you to do, but I choose to do it anyway, then I am opening myself up energetically to whatever the consequence is. In that case, you could cause a problem for yourself, but if you stay aligned to Source and you are clearing entities that you are directed to clear and you're growing, there's no reason that that's bringing negative to you. With people that are in my classes all the time, I never do this much talking at once. I'm usually having everybody else participate and talk and all that, and I miss some of that with these classes, but this is nice too. Okay, just a little talk about a psychic attack. I'm going to tell you what happened to me the other week. A person sent me a message, and the message said, I have to warn you, something very bad might happen. Somebody might send you a spiritual or a psychic attack. So I'm sending you the best, wonderful energy and healing for you and your family, because I think they're going to direct it to you and your family. And this is a person I don't really talk to. I have very casual met them maybe once or twice and said that. What I had sent back to them is I'm very clear, and I would hear if there was a problem like that. And I trust that my higher guidance is going to keep me safe. And that's what I responded to the person. At some point during that conversation, somebody called my phone, and it was almost sort of ridiculous, but there were at least two people. They leave the message. They say, wrong answer. Now you're getting a psychic attack. And then they hand the phone to the other person, psychic attack, psychic attack. And they put a lot of energy into whatever that was. Really no reason to cause a problem to me. other than I believe it's human nature to reach out and try and harm another person if they feel you're doing better than they are. It's also the human nature and programming to either fight or, flee when cornered by a threat. So if you're in the spotlight or yourself or out there in the spiritual realm or any place of achievement, you will have someone who does not wish you to succeed. You can expect that that probably is going to happen. And being spiritually evolved people, we need to resist the fight or flight when verbally attacked or challenged. So then you will find your place of power and be in that place instead of being dragged into emotions of another person that has nothing to do with you and your life goals. A person in a place of jealousy, envy, fear, hate, or anger is usually who will find you threatening if they are struggling to stay true to who they are as a soul. You may just be their trigger point. In other words, they look at you and it reflects back to them what they are healing deep inside their soul. If they are not comfortable seeing or feeling this, the easiest thing for them to do is to direct ideas of hatred towards you or even harmful threats or words. And none of this has anything to do with you. So I'm going to tell you I actually did feel the energy in the actual mail message. When they started talking about me getting psychically attacked. I felt a low energy with that, even though the words that were written were positive. So it's the equivalent if somebody takes a drum and just bangs it next to your head, you feel those negative vibrations. They didn't stick or cause any harm to me, but I could feel them. So in that case, I had to ground myself. And that means you look at your life and all the things you've worked hard for and accomplished and be proud of them. Know that God or Source is protecting you and your divine path, and no words from others are going to change your destiny. See the good in your life, and that will ground you in your path and divine connection to all that is. So as far as that goes, and it's interesting because Joe has put a question here, and I don't know if this has ever come up before, but Joe wants to know, can fantasizing about someone or lusting over somebody allow them to steal your energy or hook into you? And the answer I'm hearing from my guides is yes. I'm not supposed to go deeper into that question unless you want to ask more. But yes. If it's an imbalance, you may have to look at that. Or if maybe you're just too giving of yourself, you may have to look into that also. Okay, so Karen wants to know if it's possible for entities to attach to these positive things, like Palo Santo from a local metaphysical shop that didn't feel good to her. Karen, do I have permission to feel whatever you were feeling that day? I don't want to go in your energy field if that's not what you want me to do, so I'm just going to ask permission. Okay, thank you. If that was the first time, is that the first time that you had Palo Santo? Okay, what I'm feeling actually is like a past life issue with the Palo Santo. Like maybe you're remembering a lifetime where you used it. That stuff's going to happen from time to time. And perhaps with the people that he purchased it from, because Karen, quite honestly, you're very sensitive. So when you hold a piece of Palo Santo, not only are you going to feel that, you're going to connect to your soul and your soul's knowledge. Then you're going to connect to your husband and whoever he purchased it from. So, and that could go beyond. I actually feel you could go beyond a few people. So maybe setting an intention to only feel what you're supposed to be feeling might help. But I still think you're going to be extremely sensitive. It's just part of your amazing gift. Okay, so I do want to go through real quick to see if you have any areas that are open to being attacked by others. It doesn't mean it has to be a metaphysical person who gives you a psychic attack. You know, it could be people at work or anybody who doesn't agree with you being lifted to a higher place. So we're going to take a couple minutes to ground and center ourselves. And you're going to see your light connecting you from your crown chakra, the top of your head, and you're going to allow that to extend up to source like we did earlier. I need you to sense all of the support and love that you have earned and have as a birthright, and you will feel grounded and centered. So when you came into this world, your life mission, whatever it is, it's supported. I need you to feel that support right now. And now that we're connected in that place, we're going to see if there's any uncomfortable places you're feeling in your body. Because these are going to be the weak areas that allow you to feel or sense psychic attack. So let's just take a couple minutes, and if you have something uncomfortable, I can feel a couple fears might be brought up from this. And if this particular exercise is too much energy for you, just ask to not be part of it. Just in your mind, just say, no, I don't want to do this. And it should isolate you from this exercise. So I actually used that recording that those people left me on my voicemail to check my apprentice's energy fields. After I had been told that they were going to be able to handle it, it actually uncovered some energy that I hadn't seen before. So a person's free will choice, whatever that might be, may be masked from me. So I could be working with an apprentice for years, but if they don't want me to know about an illness they have or some kind of addiction, whatever it is, they have that right and that free will for me not to see it. That's just part of free will. But sometimes when I would play I played that psychic attack voicemail for them, then we found a couple places in their field that I couldn't have seen without that intention. I'm not going to intend to harm people, so I would never have a recording or anything like that. They put a lot of effort into spell work and different types of things to see if they could energetically attack. And honestly, when I did this exercise to check, just to check me, see if I had any weak areas, the only place I could feel is that they had threatened my husband and my children with their attack, and that's the only thing that really bothered me, because I don't believe they should bring them into it. But once I realized that this is an area that has nothing to do with me, then I allowed myself to let it go and just let that divine protection be in that place, that faith you have that you're protected on all levels. Okay, so a couple reasons why house clearings may fail. We were down to entities misrepresenting themselves. The next place would be addictions or use of hallucinogenic drugs and damage to the third eye. We've had a couple mediumship sessions here where we had worked on people that had damage to their third eye, so whether they were using shrooms or whatever they were using. Sometimes actually they open their own third eye with using those drugs, but it's not open properly. It is forced open. I actually think Karen may have some kind of knowledge of this area also with her clients, but in this case, you may be open and you can see more things, but they're not realistic. You're almost going into a void, an area that's not even real. So if I use drugs to open my third eye, because I want I want my psychic power so I can see better, um, it's going to take me off path because now I'm going to be open to things I'm not supposed to see. So that's one area. Misuse of power. So greed, hate, jealousy, envy, anger, those would all be things that would create that same energy that allows entities to come back. Wishing harm on another. Already mentioned using like a Ouija board or a pendulum when you haven't set the intention that only pure love and light from source come through. So using these things are completely okay if you have faith and believe that you are divinely protected and that's something that you should be doing as part of your path. Then it's completely okay to use a pendulum or however you use those things. If you are misled from physical spiritual teachers, that could be another way that would reverse your clearing. Not listening to God or source when told not to move forward in an area. So if I hear, Diana, that is not for you to clear, I have to listen to that. I get a lot of people in here that have energy connected to them but I really wanted to help. I just really wanted to help, so I just wanted to clear it from them. When you were clearly told by source not to. We even get messages in our daily lives. I know many people that have, on different dating sites, and they'll get that feeling not to go with a certain person. But if there's a little part of you that really kind of likes that energy, you may feel drawn to them and override what source is guiding you not to do. And in that case, hopefully it is just a energy thing that can be fixed and not a physical thing, because you often are given warnings to change course just to keep you out of bad situations every day from your higher guidance. So healthy boundaries are very important. That's kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. Just being aligned to what you're supposed to do and not what you think you should be doing. So all of these situations can be worked through and healed and the entities removed from the person or property. You may have to have an individual method for clearing whatever you have that requires a conversation and find out what that energy is connecting to. I'm going to give an example of a situation where I was not able to help, because that happens. Just knowing that one person who is very best friends with another, the one person has used, I guess, black magic to call in a certain kind of entity to help them either with, whatever it is. Are they is it love? Is it calling an entity to help them with finances, whatever it is? And if it's a negative entity that they've called in, I'm not going to be able to clear that until I'm guided by source, or that person is willing to heal that and let it be removed. In the case that I had, this entity was going through the friend. The entity was affecting the friend and making it almost impossible for them to function at times. But the person who actually called in the entity does not wish to allow me to clear it. In that case, because they used certain black magic, we were going to have them cleanse the place with that same energy, and that was the only way that I was going to be able to connect and clear the entity. So it's, sometimes source may just say, you know what, we can clear it. But in some cases like that, I have to know that there's that energy in somebody's basement that they don't want to remove, and they know it's harming people around them, but they still have a connection with it and don't want to release the entity. So. Karen, I would say that's a non-psychic attack. Sounds very complicated, and it sounds like you did a good job. So I know so many of you work in the healing arts, and I don't want you to be afraid that you can't do it just because there's some energies. It's, most people are clear enough that they can um, clear these without any problems. And feel free to type in your questions, everybody else, too. We still have plenty of time. I just want to make sure that we've answered all the questions that I was submitted earlier. I actually think I went through all these questions that you guys submitted. So keep them coming. Um, I have one person asking, how do I know if I'm making progress or going higher and higher? How to tell if you're lowering? Okay, so this would be one easy way to check your vibration and see how you're doing. So let's all check our vibration right now. That means you just sense who you are and the vibration of that as of right now today. And Joe, and anybody else who wants to check. Joe, let's go back 6 months and feel your vibration at that time. So we're in the 6 months. Now we're going to go forward to now again. And you can feel the progress. That's one easy way to know how you're doing energetically. And if your energy, your vibration is going lower, I can tell you one of the ways I would know if energy in a room is going lower. I actually get tones in my ear, actual audible, the ear tones. And that's my own personal way of knowing that energy is going lower in the room. That's one thing. But you can just check like we just did, Joe. Just say, okay, I want to feel my energy today. Now show me 5 years backwards. And you're going to realize that even though it doesn't seem quick enough, that your vibration is just rising as quickly as possible, and that you're doing a great job. Your guides are very proud. And they said even if you make mistakes, your vibration isn't going to go lower if you learn from it. Okay, I'm going to get yours next, Celine. Down to Catherine. I had an attack of anxiety this week due to abnormal EKG. Was that just me or any entities? Well, you had the physical part checked, so now we'll check the spiritual part. And there were entities. I feel like you cleared most of them yourself. There are two remaining, and they're not actually even connected to you, Catherine. They're connected to loved ones. And with your permission, I will clear what I'm allowed to clear for you, Catherine. Okay, so we're just going to take the time now, and you guys can feel it with me if you want to. What we're going to connect with Catherine and allow the highest energy to guide us on how to lift that energy and clear it. And in this case, we don't have to do any talking or cut cords or anything like that. We can just go in with that pure unconditional love, that divine source of energy, and clear that energy from Catherine. She's prayed for this. God or Source has heard her prayer, so we are going to do this today. And you are all welcome to join. I wouldn't allow you to do anything that was going to cause harm to you during this session. And those of you that feel details, you can feel that they're attached to the left side of the body. So you may actually feel it on yourself. So I can feel that there is entities connected to the left side. Doesn't mean that I have them or they're here, but we're connecting to them and there's information coming in to let us know that, just what we're dealing with. Some of you may actually see the energy as being a darker color, get a little red in it, but none of it should scare you. If you think of it as just, a negative entity has a darker, denser material, and what we want to heal it to is just brighter, lighter, and a higher vibration. And I feel like a couple of you can actually smell energy, like sometimes when I'm clearing some type of spirit, you might smell like something's rotting or, something like that. I tell my husband it's the bad breath demon sometimes. That's what it smells like sometimes, the energy. Or it might make you feel nauseous when you're clearing it. It's just information. When I'm clearing it and that stuff is coming in, it's really just information. If I don't need to know, I would rather not know. So Catherine, if you did try clearing these energies yourself, they're very deeply embedded. And they're not embedded to you, it's just a connecting energy to you, which then you feel. Since all of our energy is connected, those people that are super close to you, you're always going to have an energetic connection to them. It's just how it works. Okay, so we're going to have to do practice being in our power in order to power up and clear this one. So think about a time when you had to protect somebody else. Catherine, I'm not getting information if they're past loved ones because I'm not supposed to know. I'm just supposed to clear them. But most likely, the energies would not need to be forced on. But there are situations where we would force an energy to the light. Doing this with love, so whoever it is or whatever it is going to get healing. So back to being in our power. I can sense some of you had physical altercations with people and you had to be in your power. You had to protect yourself when somebody's screaming at you or up in your face. Just allowing the power of the situation and not the negativity. That's how being in your power feels. So Catherine, I actually think you might feel when these energies are disconnected, which is pretty soon. But just know it's not you. You're just getting the information, a way for you to know that it's disconnected. And the other information for Catherine, lower back pain on the left side comes with this attachment. So those of you that are working with me to clear this attachment is extremely strong. All right, I need to go back up, and we're still finishing up for Catherine, but we can move on to the next question, which is from Celine. She says she goes to meetings for recovering people of substance. So how does she protect herself from taking on those energies? How do I protect myself not to pick up attachments? Or is it best to send love rather than trying to protect myself? I go to 6 to 7 meetings per week. So Celine, one of the things you can do is just that higher connection, that super higher love connection that you feel when you connect up to Source. Connecting to that, allowing it to come all the way through you, even the parts you haven't healed yet. You know, you can still be clear of entities even when you're going on a process of healing. But allow yourself that area to heal, you know, as long as you're not feeling bad about whatever it is you haven't healed yet. And just allow that white light to go over you, all over your body, down into the earth, where you have a connection in the earth. The connection in the earth, a lot of people call that grounding. You grow your roots into the ground. Keep going deeper into the earth beyond where you normally ground. There is a place where you connect to source energy in the earth. And that's your reason for being here. It's the divine plan why you've gone through everything you have to prepare you for whatever it is that you came to this earth for. Okay, so we are connecting to the earth, Celine. I feel you trying. You have to go a little bit deeper into the earth. So that white column of light that goes up to source, just let it continue on into the earth. And if people have fear-based beliefs of hell being in the middle of earth, it's hard for them to connect there. So just know there's a positive place of light, your divine destiny connection in the earth. And that's when you're connected to that, you're going to feel grounded and understand why you're here. Okay, Celine, you're now connected up at source and also to the earth in your experience here. And if you allow that white light to extend all around you, let it extend out to the people in the group. You know, don't pick one to heal, just send that white light out. Fill the room, do it before you even get there, and know that you're there for a divine purpose. And you ask God to protect you from negative energy or emotions that are not yours to feel. You're asking for yourself to be able to do what you came to do on this earth. So you're using your grounding and your mission to keep the space clear, because you're in those sessions to help others, and you deserve to have that healing and guidance around you. So Celine, let me know if that sounds like a good plan. And then you can get back to me and let me know how you do. Got to find out who's next. Okay, I'm going to do Sharon's question next. I was in a great business with two friends doing healings and was quite, let's see, it keeps moving. Okay, so something to do with jealousy. You were kicked out of the partnership and the business, and now you're ill with chronic pain condition. Is this coincidence or something done to me? I think it's a combination of a couple things. Is the pain in your lower body, in your back? Okay, do you have, where is the pain that you have, Sharon? And just know that I won't connect with your energy field unless you actually give me permission. So neck, shoulder, and migraines. I'm going to check in with Source and find out if any of it is from the connection with the girls. And they say it's not about anything that they're doing to you. It's more about moving forward. That all of that is about moving forward. Does that make sense to you, Sharon? And I know you have physical things also, and I feel like you're working in the areas to make that better also. Whenever I ask my guides, it's not always just about energy. There are actual physical things where we need a medical doctor. Um, you know, people don't always want to see a medical doctor, but I'm open because my guides have given that advice to many people. Instead of wondering if there's something wrong, that you actually go and get it checked, because just that worry takes so much out of you. Well, I'm going to see who's next. So Amanda, I have a hard time meditating in my home due to the feeling of uncomfortableness and lack of ability to move. And someday I'm going to learn how to keep this still. Ability to concentrate. What can I do to help reinforce my home and have a clear feeling? Amanda, have you tried meditating outside when it's nicer out? I'm just getting guidance that perhaps changing your scenery, maybe home symbolizes too many things, and going outside in nature might be a good place for you. And I actually feel like you could meditate at work. Is that true? Okay, so you're at work. So if you think about if any part of you thinks that the energy at your home is the problem, you know, why you can't meditate because of whatever's going on there, just ground yourself with the fact that if you're able to meditate at work, that you would be able to handle the distractions at home. Does that make sense? I want to make sure I get everybody. Okay, so Karen is asking about fear-based dependency to crystals, oils, protective shields, and if you let the higher intelligence, reconnective energy do its thing, we won't need these crutches in our lives, that we are enough. Don't need these other tools. What do you think? I personally know that if you have enough faith and you believe that you're protected and you can connect with that divine energy and knowingly connect with it, that no, you would not need to have crystals or anything like that. I wouldn't have them fear-based. I guess just if it helps your intent to have crystals or oils or protective shields, then that makes you stronger. And I think they're good things for as long as you need them. You know, even if you need a shield for the rest of your life, I think it's okay. You know, I've known people who had layers of shields where you start with the white light and an egg of white light. And maybe when they start feeling other people's energy, they add, you know, some metal to it, some steel, stuff that people can't get through. I suggest putting a mirror that reflects back to the person. That would work in your field. So, you know, as far as crystals, I love all that stuff. I love the oils and all that. Do I have to have them? No, but you know what? I really like them. And if you can feel peace when you're holding a rose quartz, why not do it? So that's how I feel about using different things to protect and all of that. Everybody's different. Everybody needs a different, you know, is it a cross you hold? Do you do a prayer to feel better? It's just so many people have different belief systems that I just wouldn't judge their crystals and things like that because I like them too. I've got to see if I missed any questions. Is there anybody else who is on here that hasn't asked a question yet? Guess what? We still have plenty of time. Otherwise, I'm probably going to let the guides bring up something. So the second book that I wrote, the one that's being edited, a lot about the subconscious mind. There is a class connected to my classes on here for, you know, the pendulum system for the subconscious mind, and there's also one for just healing and clearing energy. One looks like a clock face, and that's actually in the first book, the Enochian Tablets book. If you don't hear your guides, but you want a way to clear energy. So holding a pendulum, it moves on its own, and it just is reading what the energy is. So for instance, if you use a pendulum and you hold it and it's going counterclockwise, that means something is being removed. If it's going clockwise, then it's adding energy. And it goes beyond that. There's different swings for past lives, outdated vows or contracts. A lot of different things like that. Fears, phobias, entities. So it can kind of give you an idea what you're dealing with. I even show people how to close portals with the pendulum if they need something to see because they can't really hear their guides. It's a very helpful tool. And the subconscious chart keeps you in the positive manifesting for your future instead of the little things that we tend to go in, like needing to rescue people, maybe your inner child, different levels, ego, indecision, and being wrong. Just keeps you manifesting in the right place. So those are a couple of on-demand classes on here that are helpful. And right now I'm working on the next level of information that's coming in from my guides, which shows that we have spirits and how they use their energy. In my case, I have 14 different little sections where my energy is used. I'll give you a couple examples of what they're showing me now. In the one little cubby, it's my twin flame and I are in the same one. So a twin flame is that soul connection that was actually made for you. And when you say twin flame, people believe that you can only have one, but there's so many different kinds of souls that we connect with, and they may have more than one twin flame. But that's who you share the most energy with, and that's how it's supposed to be. And then the next little section that goes out is your close family and friends. There's different things like solar energy, and then the people we're actually supposed to help. You know, the people of the appointments we have, the clients, and a lot of different areas. But how it was explained to me is each time that we go up with our vibration, we are having to adjust our system. And when I explained it to my husband, because he also used to be a mechanic, they had me tell him it's like adjusting the timing to make the engine run better. So we have to do that each time. So I'm being shown it in detail how that works. But you can do that on your own as you realize you're giving so much energy to certain people. You know, ask yourself, is that really what my energy is supposed to be used for? Or do I really need to think about adjusting, letting something go so that I can be stronger in my path? Let's see, that's what they want to talk about. And Celine, thank you for that comment. Well, it's a nice thing that Karen's here today because she's had all kinds of fun to add to this class. I'm not familiar with that machine that you're talking about, Karen. I do have a biofeedback myself. I have a life system. I don't know if that's something similar to that. So Karen, I'm going to tune in with the guides because I have no idea what you're talking about. So I am going to ask them to answer your question for me. And that's what I normally do. I tell my students I'm really good at not knowing what I'm doing because pretty much everything I do is new all the time, and I have to go up higher than myself to get an answer. So I see it's a stress handling system and hormonal balance. That sounds like a nice machine. So I'm going to use the new system of checking energy. That's what they want me to do. You know how I said there's that 14-part energy system? So the leading energy, I don't know if it's the manufacturer, if it's somebody's belief system that that would be the best way or not the best way. And also your belief system is in there also. So leading energy could be your own belief system. I'm going into source and I'm going to ask. You know, Karen, they're having me move on to something else right now. I'm sorry. Hopefully I'll get back to you after this. Um, there's a feeling I'm getting right now and over the past few weeks. Um, it's what I connect to like self-hatred. And what it feels like, if I were to describe an energy, is on the left side, under the ribs, you know, and at your waist, about a softball-sized energy that feels very tight and uncomfortable. And you don't need to add on here if you guys are feeling that at all, but I want to talk about it. The self-hatred, that's something that I can't see. So if I've ever done energy work on you, I may sense something is off, but I would never be allowed to actually see what it is because it's private to you. So I'm going to just guide through whatever the guides want me to do now. So you're going to see the energy signature for self-hatred. If you have it yourself, it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you're just sensing it, you'll know that you're just sensing it for others. It actually feels like an attachment, but it's not. So I guess I want you to feel the difference between the attachment feels more on the outside of the body, you know, connecting in, as the self-hatred feels completely contained within the person. And it is definitely the size of a softball. So they'd like me to do guided healing. Does anybody else have any pertinent questions before I start this guided healing? And the reason they have me do the guided healing is because I absolutely need to be up higher than myself to help whatever this is, to be disconnected from whoever it is in our session. Okay, then I'll start. If you can just sit with your eyes closed and just take a few deep breaths. When you're taking a deep breath, you should allow your stomach to push out when you're breathing in. Make it like a little pregnant belly when you breathe in. Let it really extend out. And if you're seated, I need you to cross your ankles. It doesn't matter what direction you're going to cross your ankles. And in most meditations, that's not the way you're taught, but this is something that you've shown me. So ankles are crossed, and we're taking deep breaths, allowing our little pregnant belly to go out there. And I also need your tongue at the roof of your mouth. So when you're sitting, you just have your mouth closed and you just have that connection of the tongue to the roof of your mouth. Just breathing through your nose. I'm going to need you to feel the love that you have around you. That includes your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. I need you to feel that love you have from Source. And you still have your tongue connected to the roof of your mouth, and you're just breathing, just relaxing. And if you don't know if God loves you, be open to that, that is possible. Those of you that love animals, feel the love from your animals. When those animals look in your eyes and they connect with you, you can feel that love. I need you to feel the love you're going to feel in your future. I need you to feel the love you're going to feel in your future lifetimes. And you may feel a little bit of uncomfortable energy now. And if you do, I need you to open your eyes and to just stare at one point on the screen. So if you can see this little red dot here on the screen, stare at that until the uncomfortable feeling goes away. That means you just stare. Your eyes will probably water, but it's going to release something from you. And once that's released, I need you to uncross your ankles, still keeping your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And you're just going to continue to breathe, just slow breaths, relaxing breaths. Through your nose, out your nose. And only do the next part if you're healthy enough to do so. I'm going to ask you to breathe in and hold your breath for a count of 20. We breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now lower your jaw so your tongue is no longer connected to the roof of your mouth. Kind of have your mouth open and just breathing. And if you feel your vibration raising, then you don't have to do it again. But I'm going to do it one more time for anybody that needs it. So you're going to have your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Ankles are not crossed right now. If you feel an uncomfortable feeling, I need you to stare at a point on the screen until the uncomfortable feeling goes away. Amanda, you're okay. You're actually connecting with the person that we're working on clearing. And I know you trust me, so you're okay. Okay, so once that uncomfortable feeling goes away, after you've been staring, you're going to take a really deep breath. Still have your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And once your belly's big, you hold your breath. And we're going to do it to 15 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Lower your jaw. And just breathe. Okay, so Amanda, they want you to picture that energy that causes chaos, and they would like you to smite it. We've worked on that, you and I, through your training with me. Smiting, or perhaps repurposing. Smiting may sound like a really bad thing, but there are some things that can't be healed. It's one of those things I had to learn during all of this, was that there are energies that you cannot heal with light. And there are some people that may be guided from their higher guidance. Perhaps you have a Michael sword. You know, you're comfortable with your Michael sword, and that may be the way that you take care of that energy. Or if you have children that are being bothered, you could ask them to put whatever it is in a box and just blow it up with white light. Like, make it fireworks, you know, make it more kid-friendly than a sword, perhaps. But there are some light workers that their job is to take care of these energies. I'm not saying a lot of people have to do it, but there are some. So I will be able to tell when you do it, Amanda. This may be the biggest one you've had to take care of, but you trust me and you know that I wouldn't let anything happen to your home or you or your family. So. Okay, so she just made contact with the energy to clear it. And you're going to have to do it a second time, because sometimes these energies leave residue behind, especially those that you are clearing, those little ET type energies, the bad ones, you know, the ones that are just taking someone's energy. I know there's good ET energy too, but we're talking about attachments today. And Karen says, go, Amanda, go. So let's say you clear some type of parasite thing, they often leave some kind of residue behind. So I guess just expect that they have some kind of a plan for that, and listen to your guidance as far as clearing it. So Karen, are you ready to do the same thing? Okay, then focus in. And anybody who can feel what Karen's doing, that means you're allowed to, so don't worry about it. Just know it's not you and you're just observing. And she's going to be guided by her higher guidance on how to take care of this energy. I'm going to get in her power. I can feel her power. It's just wow. And I feel like I need to mention, when I started doing this work, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had become Reiki trained, and you know, I could hear spirit and different things, but I was still learning. I'm still learning now, but I actually could feel a bite on my arm when I was doing Reiki on somebody. And so that was the first time I thought, oh my gosh, something actually bit, but I didn't have any marks. I didn't have, you could just tell energetically you were bitten, and that's about as bad as it got. Some things might have fallen down when I was doing clearing, and you just, if you have your intention to do what you're supposed to do and the higher guidance is guiding you, you kind of find out what your specialty is just by watching the patterns of what you're clearing from people. You know, you may work more in the emotional area. You might do entities. It could be something completely different than that. So just allow whatever your spiritual destiny is to unfold as you're doing this work. Don't expect it's going to be one way. One of the lessons from today is to do things without having an attachment to the outcome. So I send energy and I see what it does. I may see patterns, you know, and just find that curious and want to learn more. So Karen, I can feel that you have all of your power ready to do this. You, I think, are doing a clearing over an entire continent. That's what I'm hearing. And yeah, that's something new. I know you told me you do earth clearing. So when you're ready, go ahead. They say you're ready. Then Amanda should say, go Karen, go. I knew you were going to tell her, Amanda. And those of you that can feel kind of what she's doing, her energy feels like it's just gradually sending the healing. It's not like a great burst all at once like Amanda was doing for the entities. Um, Karen seems to be more even than just gradual. Everybody's completely different in the way that they do healing. So just because you read it in a book doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to work for you. Let me know how you're doing, Karen. Okay, it does feel like it. And Karen also has online classes through this same system, the Learn It Live. So if you've enjoyed her questions, I'm sure you can check some of her next classes. And I thank all of you for being here. This was a lot of fun. I thought we were going to have a lot of time. It's already 8 o'clock. And uh, if you have any other questions, just send me an email. If there's something that you were afraid to ask but you needed help, then do that. And if you leave me any reviews, that would be great. If you liked tonight and you want to leave me a review, I'm still pretty new on this, so I could use them. So thank you so much.